Hello, guys. And yes, before you ask, you are staring at a zoomed in picture of Zack Snyder's face. So, obviously, one would assume by the title and by this picture that today I will be talking about Zack Snyder, the most popular and least controversial director in the last 10 years. That was sarcasm. Despite how many people seem to hate this man, and I disliked some of his movies at some point, but eventually came around to him, I love this man. Don't take this the wrong way. He is my favorite director alongside Stanley Kubrick and Quentin Tarantino, and today I'm going to review and rank each of his movies. This will also include Zack Snyder's short film, Snow Steam Iron, which you can find on YouTube. Well, without further ado, let's get into it. But first, hi, my name is Tyler, and I love film. And today, I'll be ranking each of Zack Snyder's films. Also, I will give you a second to admire this masterpiece of a meme. Coming in 10th place and last place is Zack Snyder's very edgy Owl movie. You can quote me on that. This movie isn't bad, per se, but it's not as great as the other films they've made, which are true masterpieces. The visuals in this film are stunning and some of the best I've ever seen in animation and still hold up today, over 10 years later. But sometimes the film kind of meanders. The story is a little generic and the film seems unfocused at times. It doesn't let you fully dive into the characters, but lets you have enough to be entertained and have some sort of substance. The visuals support this film all the way through. The slow-mos are in the perfect and most theoretical spots that they should be in, and the film's just freaking awesome. I mean, you got owls with helmets and swords. What more can I say? I give this film a 7.8 out of 10. In 9th place, and what shouldn't really be on this list, but I want to talk about anyway, is Zack Snyder's short film, Snow Steam Iron. I will not explain to you why it is titled that. You have to watch it. It's on YouTube. Stop being lazy. But this short film was very good. It is one of the best short films I've ever seen. It makes use of the medium perfectly. And it's astonishing that the visuals look so good, and Zack Snyder filmed this on his iPhone, like in 2017, which is crazy. It's well done, it's shot beautifully, it has style, and the story is told completely visually, which is the best thing about Snyder, how he is a completely visual storyteller, which makes sense since film is a visual medium. There's nothing more I can say without spoiling it. It's great. I give this film an 8 out of 10. Coming in 8th place is Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead remake / reboot / whatever you want to call it, that he co-wrote and made with James Gunn. Actually, I don't know if Snyder wrote it, but whatever. I'm not re-recording this. Dawn of the Dead is a very solid zombie movie. I don't think it's an improvement on Dawn of the Dead, but I think it's retooled correctly. As Zack Snyder does with many of his adaptations, he retools it for a different age and for a different medium. This film is a very good film, and I find more entertaining than the original. It is very fun, it is shot well, all the characters are good, but it's not as great a satire as the original, but it works in service of that. So, after saying all those complicated words, I like this movie. I give it an 8.3 out of 10. Controversially, in 7th place, is Zack Snyder's Sucker Punch. Though Sucker Punch is not a great film, and a film that undeniably has flaws, I believe that there is more to this film than meets the eye. It is a very thematic film, and does not have a straight and clear character journey for its main character, Baby Doll. And most of the movie takes place in a fantasy dream realm, but that is part of the story. It's showing the fantasies that we use to escape tragedy, and it's also about abuse, trauma, and what it can do to us, and about fighting back. But many people choose to ignore these themes because of the film's odd structure. And at times, the structure that this film has does not work whatsoever, and many tonal elements feel out of place. But for me, the movie works once I look deeper into it. And also, it's just freaking awesome. I mean, you have these characters that have freaking guns and swords. There's one scene where the main character fights a bunch of giant robot samurai, another where they fight robot Germans in World War I, and a dragon. I mean, the film's freaking awesome. It makes no sense, but I'm glad it was made. I give this film an 8.4 out of 10. Next, in 6th place, is a film that I've already made a full-fledged video about, Army of the Dead. So, I'll try to keep this one quick. It's a very fun movie. It's a unique movie. I like the way it's shot. I like the experimental elements. I like the characters. I like the thrills. And I just like a lot about this movie. It has phenomenal action. Its only weak point is its characters. But its main two characters, who are the heart of the story, work well enough, making this a worthwhile movie. So yeah, it's entertaining as heck. I give this movie an 8.7 out of 10. Also, there's a zombie tiger, so actually this film's a 10 out of 10. In 5th place is a film that I've already talked about, so I'll also try to go through this quick. Man of Steel. I believe Man of Steel to be a great Superman movie, even though it is not the best. I think it's the perfect reset for the modern era, and Zack Snyder's style makes it feel refreshing. I find it an entertaining movie that is very deep and an entertaining experience that will show you things that you've never seen before, besides a skybeam and Superman. And yeah, I like this movie. It has good characters, has good thematic presence, and I'm running out of things to say. So I give this thing an 8.9 out of 10. If you want more of a review, go to my video where I reviewed every DCE film. And I'm pretty sure I said more than what I just said here. In 4th place is a film that I haven't yet talked about and will now. Watchmen. A movie that many said was impossible to make, that Zack Snyder made almost perfectly. It is not the most faithful adaptation from the comics, and Zack Snyder, like I said before, does retool things with this adaptation, like the meaning of the film. The original comic was a critique of superhero comics, and this film is more of a critique of superhero movies that is even more relevant today, since all things it's critiquing have become full-fledged tropes with the MCU and the DCEU nowadays. But Zack Snyder's visual style is perfect for this movie's mood and tone, and captures images from the comics perfectly in a way that I don't think could be done any other way than the way Snyder does it here. Even though Snyder and this film critiques superhero films, it is still a superhero film and does a good job at balancing the two. It does do some typical superhero things, but in a way that furthers the critique of superhero films, just like how the comic did. The film is pretty accurate with the comics characters and does them all justice, except for Ozymandias, who I think is a big weak point for this movie. Some major and important plot points that would have made this film even better are barely touched upon in this movie, and Ozymandias is completely undeveloped and seems like a generic villain when he should have been so much more and was so much more. But that's only a fault of the studio and the vastness of the comic. But this film could have been something that could have gone so wrong, ended up being something that was so meaningful, enjoyable, and well done. I give this film a 9.2 out of 10. In 3rd place is Batman vs. Superman, the Ultimate Edition. Since the theatrical edition is not what I'll be including in this video, and, by the way, would be in last place. Batman vs. Superman, I believe, is a great movie. I've already made a full-fledged video about this and talked about it in the DCEU retrospective. But the film is surprisingly deep and does Batman and Superman justice in this film, at least Snyder's interpretations of those characters. Batman, a fallen hero, and Superman, one still finding his path. Even though I believe the last 30 minutes of the film to be okay and mediocre, I believe the finished product of this film to be something well made, thematically rich, and satisfying. And despite what many will tell you, this film does have both Batman and Superman, has good characters that go through character growth. The film also has admirable world building, build up, payoff, stakes, and tension that make the moment when Batman and Superman clash so entertaining. And the fact that the battle isn't just some dumb superhero battle and actually has thematic purpose with two different ideals clashing, plot relevance, and greater meaning helps the film out a little. That's what I think of it in a nutshell. I give this film a 9.5 out of 10. In second place is a film that I touched briefly on in my third GES video about the Snyder Cut, 300. This film is a blast all the way through and oozes with style that I think is Snyder's best work as far as his style goes. The story of the film is solid, and so are the characters, but the thing that really elevates this film is, surprisingly for this film, but unsurprisingly for Snyder, its themes. This film is all about contrast between two different people. No matter how hard of the challenges the Spartans face, they never give up. They have an undying loyalty to their ideals, versus the savage, mindless animals who just fight because they're told to. But mainly the movie's dope as heck and one of my favorites of all time. I give this film a 9.8 out of 10. In first place is Zack Snyder's Justice League. This film happens to be one of my favorite films, and a film that I've already talked about multiple times, and we'll probably talk about 1 to 2 more times on this channel. So, prepare to be annoyed. Though I don't truly believe this film to be perfect, I believe it to be a full cinematic experience. I believe it can be self-indulgent at times, have unnecessary scenes, and slight pacing problems. For me, those are minor issues that do stay minor throughout the film that don't take away from this awesome masterpiece of a film. And by full cinematic experience, I mean that this film has great character, story, action, themes, score, visuals, spectacle, emotional depth, entertainment value, lighting, tone, and most other things that would make up a film. That is why I give this film a 10 out of 10. Also, admire this once more.